Have you ever noticed how life after 60 can sometimes feel like it's slowing down, like the world's getting a little quieter around you? Maybe you've turned down a lunch invite because it seemed like too much trouble, or you've stuck to phone calls instead of seeing someone smile in person. I've been there too, and I've learned that those little choices can start to build walls between us and the people we care about. Why does this matter so much? Well, staying connected isn't just about having fun. It's about feeling alive and knowing you're still a big part of your family, your friends, and your community. When we start pulling back, it's easy to feel like we don't matter as much, but that's not true. You do matter, and the people in your life want you around. Today, I want to talk about 6 habits that might be sneaking into your life, habits that can leave you feeling isolated instead of connected and valued. Even better, I've got some simple, practical ways to turn things around so you can keep living with joy and closeness. Let's start with the first. First up is skipping social invitations. You know how it goes. Someone invites you to a barbecue or a coffee chat, and you think, it's too much effort, or I'm not really up for it today. I used to do that all the time. My neighbor once asked me to a little get-together, and I brushed it off because I didn't feel like getting dressed up. But after saying no a few times, I noticed the invite slowed down, and I started feeling like I was on the outside looking in. That's the thing, when you keep declining, people might stop asking, not because they don't care, but because they think you're not interested. And before you know it, you're missing out on laughter and stories that could have brightened your day. So, here's what I started doing instead. I made a promise to myself to say yes to at least one gathering a week. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Even a short visit can spark that sense of belonging again. One time, I went to a friend's porch for tea, just for an hour, and we ended up laughing about old times. It felt so good to be there, like I was part of something again. If you're tired or unsure, pick something small, maybe a walk with a buddy or a quick stop at a birthday party. Ask yourself, when was the last time I enjoyed being around people, and try to make that happen again. One little yes can open the door wide. Next, let's talk about relying solely on phone calls. Don't get me wrong, phone calls are great, and I love hearing my son's voice when he checks in. But if that's the only way you're connecting, you're missing out on something special. There's nothing like seeing someone's face light up or sharing a real laugh together. I used to call my daughter every week and thought that was enough, but I missed her goofy grin and the way she waves her hands when she's excited. When you stick to just the phone, you're skipping the warmth of real-time connection, and that can leave you feeling a bit distant, even if you don't notice it right away. Here's an easy fix. Try scheduling a video call or a safe meetup now and then. If you're not big on tech, don't worry, I wasn't either. My grandson showed me how to use a video app, and now I get to see his messy hair and big smile every Sunday, even though he's miles away. Start small, maybe a 10-minute video chat with a loved one. Just say, hey, I'd love to see your face, can we try a video call? Or if you can, meet up for a quick coffee. It's like adding a little sunshine to your day, and it keeps you closer than a phone call ever could. One habit I've seen creep up is giving up hobbies completely. You know, those things you used to love doing. Maybe it was gardening, playing cards, or even just reading a good book with a group. When you let those go, it's not just the activity you lose, it's the people who come with it. I used to spend hours tinkering with model trains, but after a while, I thought, I'm too old for this, and packed it all away. Big mistake. I didn't realize how much I missed the guys I'd chat with at the hobby shop until they weren't around anymore. Hobbies aren't just about passing the time, they're a bridge to friends and new faces who share your interests. Here's what you can do instead. Pick up an old hobby or try something new that gets you out there. Join a book club, sign up for a painting class, or find a walking group, whatever sounds fun to you. I decided to dust off my trains and found a local club online. Now, I've got a standing coffee date with a bunch of folks who love talking tracks and engines as much as I do. If you're not sure where to start, think back to something that used to make you smile, or ask a friend what they're into and tag along. It's not just about the hobby, it's about the connections that come with it. Give it a shot, maybe just one meeting, and see how it feels to be part of something again. Then there's avoiding technology, which I know can feel like a big hurdle. It's so easy to say, I don't need all these apps and gadgets, I got by fine without them before. I used to think that too, until my granddaughter sent me a video of her dance recital on something called Instagram, and I couldn't watch it because I wasn't on it. That hit me. I was missing out on her life, and all because I was too stubborn to learn. Technology isn't just a toy for the young folks, it's a way to stay in the loop with family and friends, no matter how far apart you are. So, here's a simple way to dip your toes in. Start with one easy tool. Maybe it's a messaging app like WhatsApp to chat with your kids, or a video call setup like FaceTime to see your grandkids' faces. I asked my daughter to walk me through FaceTime, and now I get to watch my grandson blow out his birthday candles live, even though I'm states away. If it feels overwhelming, don't go it alone. Ask someone you trust to show you the ropes, or check out a free class at your local library. Just say, I want to see what this is about. Can you help me? You'll be surprised how quickly it becomes second nature, and how much closer it brings you to the people you love. Next, let's talk about not speaking up for your needs. As we get older, things like hearing, moving around, or even seeing clearly can get a little trickier. But if you keep quiet about it, you might start skipping out on the fun stuff, like dinners with friends or family game nights, because it's too hard to keep up. I used to do this with my hearing. I'd nod along at gatherings, pretending I caught every word, but really, I was lost. I didn't want to admit I needed help, so I just stopped going. That was a mistake, because it pushed me further away from everyone, and I felt like I didn't belong anymore. Here's what I learned. Speak up early so you can keep being part of the action. If your hearing's off, maybe it's time for a hearing aid, or just ask to sit closer to the chatter at the table. When I finally got a hearing aid, it was like the world opened up again. I could hear my friends' jokes and jump into the conversation. If mobility's an issue, tell someone, hey, I need a hand getting around today, or ask about a ride. Start small. Maybe say to a loved one, I'm struggling a bit with this. Can you help me figure it out? You're not a burden. You're giving people a chance to show they care. And that keeps you right where you belong, in the middle of the love and laughter. Finally, there's isolating when you're feeling down. This one's tough, because when you're low, the last thing you want is company. After my sister passed, I shut my door and turned off my phone, thinking I just needed space. But the longer I stayed alone, the heavier everything felt. Then my neighbor dropped by with a casserole and wouldn't take no for an answer. She sat with me, and even though I didn't say much, her being there made the day a little lighter. That's the thing, when you pull away during hard times, you're cutting yourself off from the very people who can lift you up. So, instead of locking the door, reach out when you need it most. Call a friend, talk to a counselor, or join a group where people get what you're going through. I found a little support circle at my church, and sharing a bit of my story with folks who'd been there too was like letting out a breath I'd been holding. It doesn't have to be big, just try saying, I'm having a rough day, can we talk, or show up to a coffee meetup even if you don't feel like it. Someone out there wants to be there for you, and letting them in can turn a dark day around. Now, let's take a step back and think about what we've covered. We've talked about saying yes to invitations, mixing in some face-to-face time, keeping hobbies alive, embracing a bit of tech, speaking up when you need help, and reaching out when you're down. These aren't just random tips, they're little ways to make sure you're not drifting away from the people and moments that make life sweet. You don't have to do them all at once. Pick one that feels right and give it a try. Maybe this week, you say yes to a lunch date or call a grandkid on video. I started with a knitting group, and it led to friendships I didn't expect. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're going to try to stay connected? Drop it in the comments. Maybe I'm going to join a club, or I'll call my sister on video. Your story might just spark an idea for someone else watching. If this video gave you a nudge to feel more connected and valued, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got more ways to live big after 60 coming your way. Here's to you, staying close, smiling often, and knowing you're loved. See you in the next video.